What it do? What it do? What it do? What's happening? What's popping? Happy Monday. So I want to start off today. So much going on. And I mean so much going on. So many lies, so much deceit, sabotage, genocide, brainwashing, all that good stuff like that right there, good and bad. And we, first of all, just want to say, Lord, thank you for keeping us I'm going to say in perfect peace, although it don't appear to be perfect. As long as I know that he got me and provide for me and carry me through, I'm going to say, Lord, thank you. It feels like perfect peace to me. So listen, let me start on words of wisdom. Words of wisdom. Identifying sometimes we have to just let go and let God move on. Stop playing with ourselves. And I mean stop playing with ourselves emotionally and mentally and start seeing things for what it really is. You understand? Stop moving on, carrying on as if it's the way we desire it to be. No. Let's stop lying to ourselves. You understand? We got to move accordingly to the way things really and truly is. What is this? Is this a commercial? Okay, so let's listen. Let's listen. Pay attention. And we're going to listen with our good ear. Is that okay? Can we listen with our good ear? Let's listen with our good ear. Let's go. Oh, if I cut the volume up.
With you in the same way you're engaging with them.
I'm going to back it up. Back that thing up. Y'all ready?
If you're dealing with a narcissist, the first thing you need to understand is that they're not engaging with you in the same way you're engaging with them.
A lot of narcissists out there, right? I mean, are we going to call them what they are? Or what they think they are presenting? And I'm going to call them what they are. They are narcissists. Let's go.
You're operating under the assumption that relationships are built on mutual respect, reciprocity, and shared understanding. That's the framework you bring to the table because it's the framework that allows for meaningful human connection.
Yeah.
But the narcissist doesn't.
Narcissists don't want none of that. I don't care what they say.
See it that way. Their game is entirely different. They are not interested in mutuality. They are interested in power. A narcissist's primary goal in any interaction is to secure control, attention, and validation on their terms. If that means distorting...
Validation. I always want them to be validated. I always want to be validated. That means if you validate them, that means that you believe they lie. Right? I mean, that's a lot of what's going on right now. Can we agree to that? Even if we disagree, can we agree that that's a lot of what's going on right now?
Reality, then so be it. If it means gaslighting you into questioning your own perceptions, they'll do it without hesitation.
Hey, Willie
if it
Spencer.
means
Janet.
undermining your confidence so that you become more pliable, more easily manipulated, then that's exactly...
Manipulation. Let's go.
To secure control, attention, and validation on their terms. If that means distorting reality, then so be it. If it means gaslighting you into questioning your own perceptions, they'll do it without hesitation. If it means undermining your confidence so that you become more pliable, more easily manipulated, then that's exactly what they'll pursue, and they won't feel guilty about it. That's what makes them dangerous.
That means they
Now,
won.
some people make the mistake of thinking that if they just show enough kindness, if they're patient enough, if they explain things clearly enough, the narcissist will eventually come around, but that's an illusion. A narcissist does not learn through reasoned discussion or moral appeals. They learn through
They're not
consequences.
reasonable.
And if you refuse to recognize this fundamental truth, you are setting yourself up for endless frustration, self-doubt, and emotional exhaustion.
So in other words, they're going to make you insecure about what you know is true. They're going to make you insecure to validate their insecurities. Is that what I think I just heard?
So, what does...
I mean, come on. Y'all hit the like button, please. Now, is that what I think I just heard? They're going to manipulate you, gaslight you, play with your intelligence to leave you insecure, you know. So now you take on their insecurities. Baby. See, right now I'm saying move on. AunTeaFee is saying move on. If that's the gist of it, don't play with your intelligence. Don't dummy yourself down. And let me let him finish, baby, because I started. Yeah, no, it's enough for me already. Come on, let's go.
A narcissist does not learn through reasoned discussion or moral appeals. They learn through consequences. And if you refuse to recognize this fundamental truth, you are setting yourself up for endless frustration, self-doubt, and emotional exhaustion. So, what does recognizing their tactics actually look like in practice? First, it means paying attention to patterns rather than words. Narcissists are experts at saying exactly what you want to hear. They'll promise change, they'll feign remorse, they'll even play the victim to keep you entangled in their web. But the real question is, what do their actions consistently demonstrate? If there is a pattern of deception, manipulation, or disrespect, then that is the truth of the situation, regardless of what they say. Second, you must understand that narcissists deploy specific psychological tactics to maintain their dominance. One of the most insidious is gaslighting, making you doubt your own reality. They'll deny things they've said even when you have evidence. They'll rewrite history, subtly shifting the narrative until you...
Oh my God. They will do what? Can I get an amen? They'll do what? They will rewrite history. Are we seeing this today? I mean, in the world and in our everyday life. Do we see this today? I mean, when you recognize these patterns, I want to see some amens in the comment section. When you recognize it, I need to see some amens. Whether it's political, emotionally, mentally, whether it's directly or indirectly. We need to start recognizing the truth. But carry on.
Gaslighting, making you doubt your own reality. They'll deny things they've said even when you have evidence. They'll rewrite history, subtly shifting the narrative until you find yourself apologizing for something you didn't even do. The more you engage in these arguments, the more control they gain, because the very act of defending yourself places you in a subordinate position. You are reacting to them, which means they are dictating the terms of the conversation. Another common tactic is intermittent reinforcement, alternating between affection and cruelty in unpredictable cycles. This is powerful because it mirrors the psychological mechanism behind addiction. If someone is consistently cruel, you will eventually detach, but if they occasionally throw in moments of kindness, your mind starts chasing the reward, hoping that if you just do the right thing, you'll get more of the good and less of the bad. This creates a toxic dependency, where you stay in the relationship not because it's fulfilling, but because you're trying to get back to those fleeting moments of warmth that were, in reality, just another tool of manipulation. And then there's projection. the narcissist will accuse you of the very things they are guilty of. If they're dishonest, they'll call you a liar. If they're emotionally unstable, they'll claim you're the one being irrational. This serves two purposes. First, it deflects attention away from their own behavior, and second, it keeps you so busy defending yourself that you don't have time to recognize what's really happening. Recognizing these tactics is not about becoming cynical or paranoid. It's about clarity. It's about stripping away the illusions and seeing things for what they are. Because once you see the game, you stop playing it. And when you stop playing, the narcissist loses.
Once you see the game, you stop playing it. Did it say you stop playing it or you start playing it? Once I see the game, I stop. I don't want to play no more. I used to kind of entertain it just to see how far it's gonna go. I really don't have time for that. Been there, done that. I don't pay my dues to that. But I have to thy own self be true, right? I used to entertain it. I used to just, sit back and watch it just to see. You already know they're gonna lie, right? They're gonna gaslight it. They're gonna make you think you crazy. I got a sister like that. I'm gonna put it out there. I ain't gonna put a name on it. But well, hell, I got more than one sister like that. Woo! Oh my goodness. Yeah. I just want to be truthful to myself. I've had relationships like this. And I have but I definitely have a couple of sisters like that. But I think sometimes they play the game together. I think that they're okay with playing the game as long as you don't play the game back to them. See, people can't handle what they ditch out. And I don't even want to do that no more. I used to have a habit of telling men, who thought they was slick, she gonna get you. Which one? I mean, I ain't say no name. Willie Spill, I ain't say no name. But even with guys in relationships or marriages or whatever, I used to find myself saying, I think I would say that as I knew I was leaving. Men can't handle what they ditch out. Well, I know as in regards to me, they can't handle what they ditch out. They start to then lose their mind. Huh? Yeah, I mean, some people you just can't play with. They all going to come at you. I mean, it is what it is. And I'm the youngest too. One of them I had higher regards than the other one. The other one been like that all her life. The other one I had to really just sit back and watch. Hey, we are the receipts. Is it still morning? Dang, afternoon. Yeah, but see, we have to be truthful. And in all fairness, this is why I no longer make excuses for people. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And once you grow up emotionally and mentally, and when you grow up, taking ownership, first of all, allowing God to, make those changes within yourself, growing up enough to really sincerely lay yourself, your flaws, lay it all, good, bad, lay it at the altar, and sincerely start asking God to make you who he desired you to be, not who I want to be, not who I want to be, because we're going to all want things to be this way, that way. We're going to want to line it up perfectly. Oh, it's beautiful. Woo! No. No. Make me who you desire me to be. Use me. Ask the, he gonna do it anyway. He gonna do it anyway. But once we get to a point in our life when we see ourselves a wretch undone and sincerely ask God to make me over. Make me over, Lord. Really. Then you'll be able to see things a whole lot more clear. And you'll be able to see people a whole lot more clear. Yeah. I need for us in our lives and in politics, spiritually, you know, to understand that these things matter. You understand? And we got to own that. And I believe, this is just my opinion, that if I have to see myself a wretch undone and ask God to sincerely make me over, remove me out of the equation, I think everybody have to do that. I'm not special, and nobody else is either. That's just how I look at it. So Willie Spencer, I said all that to say, if they think they ready to step to me, they better be ready for the truth, because the truth gonna set you free. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't lying for nobody ever again. For what? These folks ain't loyal. Ain't that what Chris Brown said? Oh, he called them hogs. My bad. I'ma just say these people ain't loyal. Whether they family, friends, co-workers, people you don't know. I mean, you know. Politics, they ain't loyal. Okay? Let's keep listening. Yeah. Come on now. We got to take ownership of it. And then we will have realistic expectations in people. Until you clean yourself or ask God to clean you, why do you expect for somebody else to be clean? Now, once you clean, by all means, and I mean by way of God, because only He can make you clean. Have those same expectations for others. And if they don't understand what you're talking about, from a clean heart, with a empathetic tone, explain it to them. Whether they take heed or not, that you don't care nothing about that. Just plant the seed and let God grow it. Understand? Let's go.
And second, it keeps you so busy defending yourself that you don't have time to recognize what's really happening. Recognizing these tactics is not about becoming cynical or paranoid. It's about clarity. It's about stripping away the illusions and seeing things for what they are.
Flip mode.
Because once you see the game, you stop playing it. And when you stop playing, the narcissist loses their power over you.
Oh, there you go.
And when you stop playing, the narcissist loses their power over you. So it's about clarity. It's about stripping away the illusions and seeing things for what they are. Because once you see the game, you stop playing it. And when you stop playing, the narcissist loses their power over you.
There we go.
So if you want to stop being controlled, stop being manipulated, stop being drained, step one is simple. See the narcissist for who they truly are, not who you wish they were. Because reality, as brutal as it sometimes is, will always serve you better than a comforting lie.
As a mom of 2 boys, having health insurance is extremely important. I am beyond thankful of having coverage.
You the Dragon Slayer.
It covers all of our doctors.
One of the most self-destructive traps you can fall into when dealing with a narcissist is seeking their approval. And I don't just mean overtly trying to impress them. I mean the subtle, almost unconscious ways in which you modify your behavior to avoid their criticism, to gain a shred of their acknowledgement, or to finally, just once, be treated with the respect you deserve.
Flip mode
it's an easy trap to fall into because, as human beings, we're wired for social reciprocity. When we invest in a relationship, whether it's personal, professional, or familial, we expect at some fundamental level that our efforts will be recognized. That if we just explain ourselves properly, if we just demonstrate our loyalty, our good intentions, our patience, then surely at some point the narcissist will acknowledge it and change accordingly.
Nope.
But that moment never comes.
Hey, Shay.
That's because narcissists don't operate within the framework of reciprocity. They see your efforts not as a reason to respect you, but as confirmation that they control you. Every time you contort yourself to avoid their disapproval, you reinforce their dominance. Every time you wait for their validation, you grant them power over your self-worth. And if you think that there's some magic combination of words or actions that will finally make them see you for who you really are, you are wasting your time. Because for them, the goalposts are always moving. The moment you think you've done enough, they'll find a new standard to hold you to, one they never intend for you to meet. It's not about you. That's the core realization. Their inability to respect you is not a reflection of your worth, but a consequence of their pathology. The narcissist's sense of self is fragile, built on an illusion of superiority that must be constantly upheld. They
Just insecure as hell, but need your power. And to do what with? To do what with? To bring you down to their insecurities. Wow. I mean, we see it every day, right? Everybody has a narcissist in their life. Everybody have a narcissistic friend, a family member, co-worker, boss, or president. And the cabinet, right? And if we're going to be honest and really look at it for what it is, they don't like that you're not insecure, and they want to make you insecure so that they can move with they lack of power, and they only have power because they don't stole yours. Right? Let's keep listening.
cannot allow themselves to be wrong, because to do so would shatter that illusion. They cannot allow others to be truly seen or appreciated, because that would mean relinquishing control. And so they move through life extracting, manipulating, diminishing, because it's the only way they know how to maintain their inflated self-image. Once you understand this, the correct response becomes clear. You must detach emotionally, psychologically, and where possible, physically. And that begins with one critical step. You must stop looking to them for approval in any form. That doesn't mean being rude.
Right.
It doesn't mean retaliating with cruelty.
Right.
It simply means removing yourself from the psychological game they are
I think that's why I can't stand petty. I think that's why I can't, especially in men. I'm no longer gonna sugarcoat it. I think that is why I can't, because it's the intent behind it is revengeful, spiteful. Then because you are insecure, your insecurities, now you want me. Listen, for a couple of days I've been holding in my head Lord, and I was going to put it on, like, just post the words, and then I started holding off because I was afraid I was going to offend somebody, or somebody who is looking at it is going to automatically take that as if I'm talking to them. But the minute you try to teach me a lesson is the minute you learn one. That was my message. The minute you try to teach me a lesson is the minute that you will learn one. And I need for that to hit whoever it needs to hit. Let the chips fall where they may. The minute you think you're trying to teach me a lesson is the minute you just learned one. That has kind of been my MO, I think, for a long time. Instead of trying to teach me a lesson. And in my mind, I'm thinking, who the hell? Who the hell? Because I'm going to move on past it. You're going to learn today. I mean, that's this kind of Laquita. This is kind of AunTeaFee leaving Laquita. You know. You're going to learn today. You trying to teach me a lesson. You trying to show me something. You want me to feel what you felt. Oh, yeah. That's a no for me. That's spiteful. That's hate, because I don't have any control over how you feel about something I may have said or something I may have done. I don't have any control over how that made you feel. But for you to want to make me feel what you felt, that then it becomes spiteful. Then it becomes petty. Then it takes on a whole nother texture for me. So then it becomes ill will or ill intent. So now you want to teach me a lesson. No, you're going to learn one. And that's just my take on that. You're going to learn today. Yeah, no. Because now you're trying to manipulate me. You know, I experienced that in a first boyfriend situation. So some of my wisdom came early. It came early. So for people to come late in the game pulling stunts that I learned early, oh yeah, no. And I ain't in love. Yeah, nah, I done paid my dues to that, baby. Love left me in, well, what I thought was love a long time ago, had me in situations longer than I probably, in my right mind, would have entertained. But to thy own self be true. You understand? Those are lessons learned. And Lord, I thank you. But I must say today, you know, what people got away with a long time ago would absolutely not get away with it today. And that's just the way it is. The minute you try to teach a lesson is the minute you learn one. Let that apply in your everyday life. Make people grow up. Let God teach the lessons. And then maybe we'll all learn the right way. I'm just saying, let's go.
Trying to trap you in. So how does this actually play out in the real world? It means no longer justifying yourself to them. A narcissist thrives on argument because argument implies that their opinion matters. The moment you start defending yourself, you've already lost, because now the conversation is being framed around their perception of you rather than your own intrinsic reality. Stop explaining yourself to someone who is only looking for ammunition. If they distort your words, let an argument, because argument implies that their opinion. That doesn't mean being rude. It doesn't mean retaliating with cruelty. It simply means removing yourself from the psychological game they are trying to trap you in. So how does this actually play out in the real world? It means no longer justifying yourself to them. A narcissist thrives on argument because argument implies that their opinion matters. The moment you start defending yourself, you've already lost, because now the conversation is being framed around their perception of you rather than your own intrinsic reality. Stop explaining yourself to someone who is only looking for ammunition. If they distort your words, let them. If they misrepresent your intentions, so be it. Their perception of you is not your responsibility to fix. It also means letting go of the need for closure. This is one of the hardest lessons to learn.
Hey,
we all want
Queen.
resolution. We all want that final moment where the narcissist acknowledges their wrongdoing, where they apologize, where they finally give us that sense of justice we've been waiting for. But that moment isn't coming, and the more you chase it, the longer you remain ensnared in their web. The only closure you will ever get is the one you give yourself. The decision to walk away, to stop engaging, to accept that their recognition is not required for your self-worth to remain intact. And perhaps most importantly, it means redefining your own source of validation. If you've spent years, maybe decades, adjusting your self-permission to fit the expectations of someone who is never capable of valuing you in the first place, then it's time to take that power back. Your worth is not something that exists at the mercy of another person's recognition. It is something you must claim for yourself. And the moment you do, the narcissist loses the very thing that made them powerful over you in the first place. Because in the end, the most radical act of defiance against a narcissist is simple. Stop needing them to see you. See yourself instead. One of the most dangerous mistakes you can make when dealing with a narcissist is assuming that playing by the rules will protect you. That if you're fair, if you're reasonable, if you keep giving them the benefit of the doubt, they'll eventually reciprocate. But this assumption rests on a flawed premise, that the narcissist values fairness, that they respond to reason, that they are even playing the same game you are. They're not. A narcissist operates within a completely different psychological framework. You see, most people, when they enter into a conflict, whether it's a disagreement with a friend, a tense conversation with a partner, or even a workplace dispute, are operating under the assumption that there's some shared objective reality, that if both people lay out their perspectives honestly, the truth will eventually emerge and some form of resolution can be reached. But a narcissist has no interest in resolution. Their interest is in dominance. And that's where you have to stop making the mistake of believing that being the bigger person, being endlessly patient, endlessly understanding, will lead to a breakthrough. It won't. Because to a narcissist, your willingness to engage, your willingness to keep explaining, to keep justifying yourself, to keep hoping for a rational response is not seen as strength. It's seen as weakness. It's an opportunity. It tells them that they still have control over your mind, your emotions, your actions. It tells them that you are still playing their game, even if you don't realize it. So what do you do instead? You stop reacting the way they want you to. You stop giving them the emotional fuel they thrive on.
Stop giving up your energy.
It got stuck in the branch that it was growing on, and
If
then
they
it
don't
also has a
respect
line
it,
from where it was
stop giving
not
it
on the
up.
plant.
Because here's something important to understand. Narcissists are not self-sustaining. They don't generate their own sense of stability, their own sense of identity, their own sense of worth. They extract it from others. That's why they provoke, why they manipulate, why they create conflict where none should exist. It's all an attempt to keep you engaged, because engagement equals power. If you want to disarm a narcissist, you must remove that power. And that begins with mastering something that is both incredibly simple and incredibly difficult: emotional detachment. Now, I don't mean suppressing your emotions entirely. That's not healthy and it's not sustainable. What I mean is developing the ability to remain unaffected by their provocations, to recognize that their attempts to guilt you, to bait you, to drag you into another cycle of argument and justification are nothing more than a strategy to keep you under their influence. This is where the concept of gray rocking comes in. It's a psychological technique that involves making yourself as uninteresting, as unemotional, and as
Gray rocking. I've never heard of that. Has anybody heard of gray
guilt you, to bait you, to drag you into another cycle of argument and justification are nothing more than a strategy to keep you under their influence. This is where the concept of gray rocking comes.
Have anybody heard of that before? Has anybody heard of gray rocking? The concept of gray rocking. Interesting. Let's learn.
What I mean is developing the ability to remain unaffected by their provocations, to recognize that their attempts to guilt you, to bait you, to drag you into another cycle of argument and justification are nothing more than a strategy to keep you under their influence. This is where the concept of gray rocking comes in. It's a psychological technique that involves making yourself as uninteresting, as unemotional, and as disengaged as possible when dealing with a narcissist. They thrive on reactions, whether it's anger, frustration, sadness, or even affection, because reactions mean they're still in control. But if you refuse to engage, if you stop giving them the dramatic emotional response they crave, they lose their leverage. They get bored, they move on. But let's be clear, this isn't easy. It's not easy to sit in the presence of someone who is deliberately trying to provoke you and refuse to take the bait. It's not easy to hear outrageous accusations and choose not to defend yourself.
Okay.
Whether it's anger, frustration, sadness, or even affection, because reactions mean they're still in control. But if you refuse to engage, if you stop giving them the dramatic emotional response they crave, they lose their leverage. They get bored, they move on. But
yeah, I guess I did learn that early on. I try not to give y'all my personal business, but I do remember at a point in my life, I don't know if that was it don't matter when it was, that yeah, I guess I did, because I remember saying one time, as I was about to exit a relationship, whatever, something, I remember saying, the more I argue, fuss, and fight with a person, the more they think I still love them. And when I stop arguing, cussing, acting a fool with you, is when this particular person, and yes, indeed, he was a narcissist, realized that he had lost me. I'm not arguing because that make you think I still love you. And I mean, I'm done. I'm done. And besides that, I had a childhood friend. I mean, we knew each other since the third grade. And I remember her telling me one time, when I started saying, I don't care. And this is a person, sometimes I think I felt like she knew me better than I knew myself. Because she knew the struggle. She knew the heartache, the pain, the family, the relationships, She knew it all. And I remember her telling me one time when I said, I don't care. And she did like a sigh, like a oh my God type of thing. And she said, oh, this is bad. This is bad, because you never not care. And she said, for you to say you don't care, you never say that. And I just listened to her tell me about me. I had never paid attention to it. And I don't know. Now I'm thinking about, was that a gauge for her? I don't know. I never thought about it. I just know that once she said this about me, I, 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 I had no choice but to acknowledge the truth about me, if that makes sense, because I never realized until she said it that that was a pattern that she had came accustomed to. So she knew me almost better than I knew myself. So for me to say, Liz, I don't care. I don't care. I do not care, was alarms, bells, and whistles. Because one thing she knew for sure, I never said before that I didn't care, because I always care. I'm a Cancer. Well, I'm a Cancer Leo. So the Cancer's AunTeaFee, she always cares. Laquita, the Leo, she don't give two shits and two nickels. You understand? But the Cancer in me always care. And for a narcissist, I'm not saying she was saying the situation was bad if the words "I don't care" was coming out of my mouth. So for a narcissist, I kind of guess they expect for me, or a person like me, to always care enough to continue their cycle. So stay woke. Sometimes we have to respectfully, emotionally, and mentally care enough to detach, so that they won't be gray rocking us and we don't even realize what gray rocking is. Y'all hit the like button. Double tap on your phone and just say thank you. Thank you. It's 2 taps. Say thank you. Let's go.
Be clear, this isn't easy. It's not easy to sit in the presence of someone who is deliberately trying to provoke you and refuse to take the bait. It's not easy to hear outrageous accusations and choose not to defend yourself. It's not easy to watch them rewrite history and smear your name and simply say, believe what you want. But it is necessary, because every time you engage, every time you fight back, every time you try to prove yourself to someone who has no interest in truth, you are feeding the very dynamic that is draining you. This is a form of psychological self-discipline. It's the ability to say, I do not need this person's validation. I do not need to correct their false narrative. I do not need to win their approval or prove my worth in their eyes. And when you reach that level of detachment, you become untouchable, because a narcissist cannot control what they cannot provoke. In the end, the most powerful response to a narcissist is not anger. It's not even confrontation. It's indifference. When they realize they no longer have the ability to pull you into their chaos, they lose interest. And that is when you finally regain your freedom. One of the greatest traps you can fall into when dealing with a narcissist is engaging in the endless cycle of conflict they create. You might think that if you can just make them understand your perspective, if you can finally prove your point, if you can get them to acknowledge their behavior, then everything will change. But that's an illusion.
After the Colonel made his hot and spicy wings, he needed
That's
the
an
perfect
illusion.
pairing. So he
They
invented
know
the
what they're
potato.
doing.
Don't need to look that up. It's true.
A narcissist doesn't argue to resolve anything, they argue to dominate. Their goal is not to find the truth, not to come to a mutual understanding, not even to prove they're right in any coherent way. Their goal is to keep you entangled, to keep you emotionally invested, to keep you reacting, because as long as you're reacting, you're still in the game, and as long as you're in the game, they still have power over you. Think about how this plays out. You bring up an issue, something they did that was disrespectful, dishonest, or hurtful, A normal person, even if they don't agree, would at least attempt to understand your perspective. They'd engage in good faith. But what does the narcissist do? They deflect. They shift the blame. They bring up something completely unrelated that you did 6 months ago. They twist your words. They accuse you of being the problem. And before you know it, you're no longer discussing the issue at hand. You're defending yourself.
I mean, can always remember what you said. Can always remember what you said, but can't remember nothing they done. I can't remember. What did what I said long time ago have to do with what's going on today? Where'd that come from? Huh? What? Okay, park that. Park that. Okay, park what I said. Okay, we can come back to that. Right now, put it in reverse. Let's back that thing up about what's going on right now. And we'll pick that up later. Park it. Okay? But right now, let's deal with what's going on right now today. Stop moving that goalpost. Yeah, but we can revisit it. Yeah, but not right now. Not right now. Yeah, don't throw me out. Boy, I remember. Oh, I remember when, not even knowing it was called gaslighting, but I remember how a conversation would start this way, and it would just kind of flip, and you will have forgot. It's like, wait a minute, what we doing? You trying to confuse me? I disengage completely. Works for me. I mean, yeah. But you know what? For a person who used to care, just, I don't know, subconsciously, I always care. And if somebody is a manipulator, they know your patterns, making you overlook their patterns. They know your patterns. And when you begin to see their patterns, they remind you of your patterns. You're not like that. She gonna take my call. She gonna take me back. It goes both ways. And come on now. So now we got a whole person in office doing the same thing to us that we have allowed other people to do and get away with. I'm saying no to all of it. I'm saying no to all of it. And I guess that this is why I'm so intense and matter of fact about what's going on right now in the world today. I'm not making excuses for nobody. Nobody gets a pass who is have this mindset, who is actively promoting, backing, support. No, if you're okay with this, you don't get a pass either. There is no excuse. Nobody gets a pass. Yeah, nobody. And I guess that's why I am the way I am right now about what's going on in the world. No, you're not going to gaslight it. You're not going to make excuses for it. You're not going to justify it. There's no justification, period. If you somewhat act like you understand or you forgive this bullshit, that means that me and you have nothing in common. That means you are a master manipulator, liar, thief. That means that you really entertain the devil. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But that's how I see it. Why else would you make excuses for it? And I'm going to say this, Lord, if I'm wrong, teach me, show me. Because right now I'm lining it up with you and your word. And if I have misunderstood your word, then I need for you to reveal it to me. Nobody else can reveal it but God.
And that's where they win. Because the moment you start defending yourself, the conversation is no longer about their behavior. It's about proving your innocence. They've successfully
Janice
turned the
said,
tables.
no is
Now
a
you're on
complete
trial.
sentence.
Now you're expending all of your mental and emotional energy justifying yourself while they sit back and watch you exhaust yourself in a battle that was never meant to be fair in the first place. So how do you stop this? How do you remove yourself from this psychological warfare? You learn to disengage. You stop justifying yourself. You stop explaining. You stop trying to win a debate that was never designed to be winnable. Now, that doesn't mean you let them walk all over you. It doesn't mean you tolerate abuse or stay silent in the face of injustice. It means you refuse to participate in a rigged game. It means you set boundaries that are not up for negotiation. A narcissist thrives on emotional chaos, and they will do everything in their power to keep you off balance. If you say, I won't tolerate being spoken to that way, they'll push harder to see if you really mean it. If you say, I won't engage in this kind of argument, they'll try to provoke you until you break your own rule. Because if they can get you to react, they win. They've proven that your boundaries are just words. So your job is to make sure they aren't. Your job is to follow through. If you say you're leaving the conversation, leave. If you say you won't tolerate disrespect, don't. If you say you won't explain yourself, stop explaining. Because the moment a narcissist realizes that their usual tactics no longer work on you, they start to lose interest. You are no longer the easy target they once thought you were. But here's the hard part. Standing firm in your boundaries means tolerating discomfort. It means resisting the urge to correct them when they lie about you. It means resisting the urge to defend yourself when they twist the narrative. It means accepting that they will never see the truth because they don't want to. And that's okay. Your peace, your dignity, your self-respect, these things do not depend on their recognition. They depend on your ability to walk away from pointless battles, to refuse to be baited, to prioritize your own well-being over the illusion of winning an argument, because in the end, the real victory isn't proving a narcissist wrong.
Can I get a medium coffee?
Y'all, come on now, double tap the face of your phone and hit the like.
That you no longer need their validation at all. There's a hard truth you have to come to terms with when dealing with a narcissist. They will never respect your boundaries unless you enforce them. And enforcement doesn't mean explaining your boundaries over and over, hoping they'll finally understand. It doesn't mean making threats you don't follow through on. It doesn't mean hoping they'll suddenly develop self-awareness and start treating you with the respect you deserve. It means action. It means consequences. You see, a narcissist doesn't recognize boundaries in the way a healthy person does. A healthy person, when told this behavior is unacceptable and I won't tolerate it, will at least pause and reflect. They may not always agree, but they'll respect that you have a right to draw the line somewhere. A narcissist, on the other hand, sees your boundaries as a challenge, an obstacle to overcome, a test of how much they can get away with. And they will keep pushing until they find the breaking point. This is why half measures don't work. If you set a boundary but don't enforce it, all you've really done is teach the narcissist that your words mean nothing. That if they push hard enough, if they apply enough pressure, if they create enough guilt, you'll cave. And once they know that, once they see that your limits are negotiable, they'll exploit that knowledge relentlessly. So what does real enforcement look like?
That your limits are negotiable. They'll play in your face every time. Listen. They trying to break you. Is that what he's saying? Is that what he's saying?
Narcissist that your words mean nothing. That if they push hard enough, if they apply enough pressure, if they create enough guilt, you'll cave. And once they know that, once they see that your limits are negotiable, they'll exploit that knowledge relentlessly. So what does real enforcement look like? It means being willing to walk away from conversations that cross the line. It means removing yourself from toxic situations, even if it causes temporary discomfort. It means understanding that you don't have to argue, negotiate, or explain yourself endlessly. You simply have to act. And here's where people struggle. Because action is difficult. It's uncomfortable. There's a cost to it. Setting and enforcing boundaries means accepting that the narcissist will react badly, and they will. They will accuse you of being selfish, of being cruel, of being unreasonable. They will play the victim. They will lash out because they have no interest in respecting your boundaries. Their only interest is in making sure you feel guilty enough to drop them. And this is where you have to be strong enough to tolerate the discomfort of doing what's necessary. You have to accept that when you start enforcing boundaries, the narcissist will escalate. If they used to manipulate you subtly, they might start attacking you outright. If they used to guilt trip you, they might start playing the victim more dramatically. If they used to rely on charm, they might switch to outright hostility. This is called an extinction burst, a last-ditch effort to regain control when they realize their usual tactics aren't working. And this is the moment where most people fail, because it's in this moment that the pressure feels unbearable. The accusations, the guilt, the manipulation, it all intensifies, and if you're not prepared for it, you'll give in. Think, maybe I'm being too harsh, maybe I should just explain myself one more time. And the moment you do, the narcissist knows they still have control over you. They'll pull back, act as if everything's fine for a little while, and then slowly but surely start pushing again. The only way to break this cycle is to stop giving them a reason to believe they can change your mind, to make it clear, through action, not words, that your boundaries are real, that they are not up for negotiation, and that violating them has consequences. That might mean cutting contact. It might mean disengaging emotionally. It might mean refusing to respond to provocations. Whatever the situation calls for, the key is consistency. Because in the end, boundaries are not about controlling the narcissist's behavior. You will never control them. They will always do what serves their ego, their control, their power. Boundaries.
You're welcome, Ms. Tom.
It might mean disengaging emotionally. It might mean refusing to respond to provocations. Whatever the situation calls for, the key is consistency. Because in the end, boundaries are not about controlling the narcissist's behavior. You will never control them. They will always do what serves their ego, their control, their power. Boundaries are about controlling your own behavior, about deciding what you will and will not tolerate, about choosing to remove yourself from situations that drain you, about prioritizing your own well-being over the illusion that you can change them. And when you finally do that, when you finally enforce boundaries with unwavering resolve, something remarkable happens.
What happens?
The narcissist loses their grip on you. Their power fades. You begin to reclaim something they were never meant to have in the first place: your autonomy, your dignity, your peace. And that is a battle worth winning. One of the most difficult realizations you'll have when dealing with a narcissist is understanding that they will never give you closure. That apology you're waiting for, that moment where they finally acknowledge the pain they caused you, it's not coming. And the longer you wait for it, the longer you stay trapped in their psychological web.
Facts.
Because here's the thing. Narcissists don't reflect on their actions the way healthy people do. They don't lie awake at night wrestling with guilt, wondering how they can make things right. They don't replay the past.
In other words, they will never take ownership. You're never gonna get it. That's a song, ain't it? Never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never. Yeah, you're never gonna get it because they're never going to take ownership. To take ownership would be for them to see themselves a wretch undone. Right. I think I have thought about, can a narcissist really That's between them and God. I'm gonna leave that alone. You're never gonna get it because they are not going to, one, admit that they were wrong, because they are not going to take ownership. It's going to always be your fault. It's going to always be something is wrong with you. It's going to always be you crazy. It's going to always be some form of manipulation. They're going to always remember what you did. Always. Never what they did, but always what you did. Y'all, I'm going to need for y'all to double tap the face of your phone as you are listening in. Double tap 2 times. Or go ahead and just leave. And this time when you leave, don't come back. And I'm saying this matter of factly. If you cannot double tap the face of your phone to say thank you, AunTeaFee, thank you, I appreciate it, then go ahead and just leave. And don't come back. I'm going to show you how I just don't care. Don't come back. If you're on your computer, hi, Stephanie. You're welcome. You're welcome. Queen said, right, or just go. Thank you, Sky Rob. I really appreciate it. And if you're on your computer, hit the 3 dots at the top right. It's just saying thank you. Thank for being here. You're welcome. I mean, we want to listen. I got another one that follows this. This is just the first one. Then I have a backup that's going to say it. And just in case, sometimes we have to be politically astute or say it in a political way. And then sometimes, we got to hear it another way. Just in case we missed it here, we'll for sure catch it there. I kind of like it like that. Sometimes people think, well, oh, AunTeaFee, she just be saying, her words, where she grabbed them words from. Sometimes we have to say it in ways that everybody gonna understand it. That just keeps you reachable and teachable as far as I'm concerned. If I have to speak politically astute or on another level that's more professional, then I will do that. But just in case I don't have to, and I want to make it a jokey hoodie where everybody can get it, that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, I have one that's following this one. So come on, because y'all know my phone be tripping when I start telling the truth. First, I'm getting all these suspicious and spam calls back to back to back. And then it's going to go from that to my charger ain't going to charge and my phone going to drop. Y'all know the routine. It's a pattern. I'm telling you. Patterns matter. It's a pattern. Let's go. Come on, baby. Let's go.
And think, maybe I went too far. That's not how their mind works. The longer you stay trapped in their psychological web. Because here's the thing. Narcissists don't reflect on their actions the way healthy people do. Mm-hmm. They don't lie awake at night wrestling with guilt, wondering how they can make things right. They don't replay the past and think, maybe I went too far. That's not how their mind works. Their concern is not the truth. Their concern is maintaining control. And if that means rewriting history, if that means making you the villain, if that means distorting reality so thoroughly that even you begin to doubt yourself, then that is exactly what they will do. And if you're not careful, you will spend years, maybe even decades, trying to extract something from them that they are fundamentally incapable of giving. You will hold out hope that if you just say the right thing, if you just prove your point convincingly enough, they'll finally see. They won't, not because the truth isn't clear, but because admitting it would mean relinquishing the power they have over you. Mm-hmm. So you have a choice. You can keep chasing an apology that will never come. You can keep replaying conversations in your head, imagining different outcomes, trying to make sense of something that was never meant to make sense.
Somewhere on a stretch of road in a town you've never heard of, there's a Chevy truck. And the person who drives it, well, that's a Chevy person.
Why? Or you can decide that your healing is not dependent on them. You can decide that closure is something you give to yourself. And that's not easy, because we are wired to seek resolution. Our minds crave order, narrative coherence. When someone wrongs us, when they betray our trust, when they inflict wounds that linger, we want acknowledgement. We want justice. We want the story to have a clean ending. But life is messy. And when you're dealing with a narcissist, the ending you want, the resolution where they finally take accountability, is an illusion. So what do you do instead? You reclaim your own narrative. You stop waiting for them to set you free, and you set yourself.
Reclaim your own narrative. That's powerful. Reclaim your own narrative. I'm not trying to reclaim somebody else's narrative. You're not in control of that. Their narrative is between you, of them and God. That's how I need for us to look at it. Their narrative is between that person and God. Reclaim your own narrative. Stop giving people permission to mishandle you, and reclaim your own narrative and handle yourself accordingly. You're not going to dictate how my story goes. You don't have that type of power. And I'm not giving you that type of permission. There was 4 or 5 red flags along the way. I mean, after the second red flag, you can't handle my narrative. You understand? You cannot handle my narrative. And I don't have to see 3 red flags. 1 was enough. Two is it. I let a person get to 2 just to prove that you are not a narcissist within yourself. You understand? I'm just saying. I saw it. But you know, in all fairness, okay, you get 1, but 2 is it. I cannot stand. Lord, please help me with this. I'm telling on myself, but I cannot stand when you trying to be fair, because people would tell you, you this or that, your expectations and da. Listen, I done paid my dues to a lot, but anyway, anyway. So this is what happens when you let people try to dictate or negotiate your boundaries. You understand? They will intentionally mishandle it. So that's why we got to stop this. I was about to go into a story, but I'm not, because I don't want to offend somebody. Ain't that crazy? Trying not to offend somebody who is hell-bent on trying to manipulate you, mislead you, and misguide you to get their way. Is that the craziest mess? And then we go along with it for what? For what? No. No, I don't pay my dues to that type of stuff. I feel like if you are at a point in your life that you are serious about some things, then all those games and manipulation and trying to turn somebody and change somebody, that is out the window. Ain't nobody gonna change nobody. That is God's job. Don't let nobody control your narrative. Control your own narrative. Because it will be you that's left in the end to deal with it. That person gonna be gone playing with somebody else. You understand? So control your narrative and don't let nobody tell you something's wrong with you for you getting in control of your own narrative that you gonna have to live with. And if that means you're gonna have to live with it by yourself, I suggest that when you talking to God, that you ask God to make you lovable to your own self, where you can have fun with your own self. You can make your own self laugh. You understand? You can make your own self happy. Yeah. You need to incorporate that in your prayers. And you're going to have people on the outside looking in thinking, well, damn. She got to have, or he got to have. He got a side piece. He ain't just that happy by his damn self. You a lie? Because that person is in control of their own narrative. You understand? Let's go. Go ahead.
You reclaim your own narrative. You stop waiting for them to set you free, and you set yourself free. That means accepting that some people will never understand what they did to you and choosing to move forward anyway. That means letting go of the idea that their validation is necessary for your healing. It's not, it never was, and that's where true power lies. Because as long as you're waiting for them to acknowledge the truth, they still have control over you. As long as you're hoping for a moment of clarity from them, they still dictate your emotional state. But the moment you stop seeking their validation, the moment you decide that their opinion, their version of events, their refusal to acknowledge reality is irrelevant, that is the moment you win. That is the moment they lose their hold on you. And here's the paradox. The less you need closure from them, the more power you have over your own life. The moment you stop explaining, stop defending, stop waiting, you become untouchable. Because a narcissist's greatest weapon is their ability to manipulate your need for resolution. Take that away and they have nothing. Healing from a narcissist isn't about getting them to see what they've done. It's about seeing it clearly yourself. It's about recognizing that their lack of accountability is not a reflection of your worth, but of their own brokenness. It's about understanding that closure doesn't come from them, it comes from you finally deciding that you don't need their permission to move on. And when you do that, when you truly let go, something remarkable happens. The weight they placed on you begins to lift. The anger, the confusion, the self-doubt. It starts to fade, not because what they did was okay, but because you've chosen to no longer let it define you. In the end, the greatest revenge against a narcissist isn't proving them wrong. It isn't making them apologize. It isn't even exposing them. It's thriving without them. It's living a life so full, so independent, so unshackled from their influence that they become nothing more than a distant memory.
And that's okay with me. Okay, y'all ready for the second one? Come on, because y'all know this phone will start tripping. I need for y'all to hit the like button. Hold on. Hit the like button. Hit the like button for AunTeaFee. Y'all remember that? Hit the like button. Please. Hit the like button. Boy, I used to sing my own little intro back in the day. Hold on. I got one more before I let go. Y'all gonna make me stun on y'all.
Remains unchanged. No amount of a
I used to sing my own intro, Queen. Lord, I done got lazy. Let's
Welcome
go.
to Faith's Washington Inspiration. There comes a
Welcome.
moment in life when you stop listening to what people say and start paying attention to what they do. A moment when apologies no longer impress you, when regret-filled words no longer carry weight, and when you realize that emotion without transformation is just noise. Anybody can sound sincere when they're cornered. Anybody can feel sorry when consequences show up. But real character, real growth, shows itself after the apology, when nobody is clapping, when nobody is watching, when it would be easier to fall back into old habits than to rise into responsibility. See, an apology that doesn't come with change is not a bridge. It's a pause, a delay, a temporary calm before the same storm returns. And too many people get trapped in cycles because they confuse emotion with evolution. Feeling bad is not the same as doing better. Saying I didn't mean to doesn't erase repeated damage. Life doesn't reward intentions. It responds to discipline, consistency, and action. The world doesn't move forward because someone feels guilty. It moves forward when someone decides to grow. So today, this is not about anger, and it's not about judgment. This is about clarity. It's about learning to recognize patterns, to value your time, and to stop negotiating with behavior that refuses to change. Because when apologies don't lead to better choices, they become warnings. And wisdom isn't found in waiting for words to turn into action. Wisdom is found in moving forward when they don't. Words are easy, patterns are honest. There is a hard truth most people avoid because it forces accountability.
Hey,
and that
Natural
truth
Orleans.
is this: words are easy, but patterns never lie. Anyone can speak when emotions are high. Anyone can apologize.
Patterns never lie. My. Patterns never lie. Can I get some amens? Patterns don't lie. That's why your words gotta actions. Yeah, they gotta match. Yeah. Yeah. Patterns don't lie. Let's go.
Because it forces accountability. And that truth is this: words are easy, but patterns never lie. Anyone can speak when emotions are high. Anyone can apologize when they feel threatened, exposed, or afraid of losing something. Words cost nothing. They require no discipline, no sacrifice, no long-term commitment. But patterns are built over time, and they reveal who a person truly is when the spotlight fades and the pressure lifts. We live in a world that is overly impressed by language. People are moved by tone, by tears, by dramatic apologies, by promises spoken with urgency. But life is not changed by moments. It is shaped by repetition. What someone repeatedly does carries more truth than what they passionately say once. A single apology might touch the heart, but a consistent pattern either heals or harms. And when behavior remains unchanged, no amount of emotional language can override.
Heals? Hold on. God dang it. He going too fast. Slow down. Slow down. Hold up. Y'all hit the like button. Hold on.
Impressed by language. People are moved by tone, by tears, by dramatic apologies, by promises spoken with urgency. But life is not changed by moments. It is shaped by repetition. What someone repeatedly does carries more truth than what they passionately say once. A single apology might touch the heart, but a consistent pattern either heals or harms. And when behavior remains unchanged, no amount of emotional language can override that reality. Patterns are formed in private. They grow quietly through choices made when no one is watching, when excuses are available, when accountability feels inconvenient. That's why patterns are honest. They don't perform, they don't exaggerate, they don't try to impress. They simply show up again and again, telling the same story over time. If someone apologizes but continues the same behavior, their pattern has spoken louder than their words ever could. This is
Absolutely.
where many people get stuck. They fall in love with potential instead of evidence. They hold on to the hope that this time will be different.
Ooh-wee. They fall in love with what instead of what? Hi, Eddie. Who can they fall in love? Come on, somebody tell me. I know what it say, but tell me. They fall in love with what? That's teachable, y'all. Come on, y'all. Can somebody tell me what they said? What he said? Y'all ain't listening with y'all good ear. They fall in love with instead of what? Can't nobody tell me? Wow. I gotta put it in the comments. Y'all not listening. He said they fall in love with potential instead of evidence. That's why they miss them red flags, y'all. That's why we, the people, miss the red flags. Because we fall in love with potential instead of evidence. Wow. That's heavy. Let's go.
They don't try to impress. They simply show up again and again, telling the same story over time.
Lies.
If someone apologizes but continues the same behavior, their pattern has spoken louder than their words ever could. This is where many people get stuck. They fall in love with potential instead of evidence. They hold on to the hope that this time will be different because the apology sounded different. It felt deeper. It came with emotion, maybe even with tears. But emotion does not equal transformation. Pain does not automatically produce growth. And regret without discipline is just a reaction, not a decision. Growth begins when awareness turns into action. Saying, I see my mistake is only the first step. The real work begins when someone chooses discomfort over familiarity, change over convenience, discipline over desire. That choice must be repeated daily, especially when no one is reminding them to do better. That repetition is what creates a new pattern. And without a new pattern, there is no real change, only recycled apologies. One of the greatest mistakes people make is assuming intention matters more than impact. They say, I didn't mean to hurt you, as if intention erases repetition. But life responds to results, not excuses. You can have good intentions and still cause consistent damage. You can feel remorse and still refuse to evolve. Patterns don't care about intent, they reveal outcomes, and outcomes determine trust. Trust is not rebuilt with speeches. It is rebuilt with consistency. It is rebuilt when someone shows over time that they are willing to act differently even when it costs them comfort. Trust grows slowly because patterns must be observed repeatedly before they can be believed. That's why people who demand immediate forgiveness without behavioral change are often more interested in relief than responsibility. Pay attention to what happens after the apology. Do actions change when there is no threat of consequences? Does respect increase when emotions cool down? Does effort remain consistent when forgiveness has already been given? These questions expose truth. Because anyone can behave well temporarily, only character sustains change permanently. Patterns also reveal how much someone values you. When a person truly values something, they protect it. They adjust their behavior, they become intentional. If the same boundary is crossed again and again, it's not because it was forgotten, it's because it was not prioritized. Respect is not proven by what someone says in a moment of regret, it is proven by what they refuse to repeat. This is not about perfection. Growth is messy, change takes time. But there is a difference between struggling forward and standing still. There is a difference between occasional failure with visible effort and habitual behavior with endless apologies. Patterns show direction. Are they moving toward growth, or are they circling the same mistake? There comes a point where wisdom requires observation over optimism, where maturity demands that you stop arguing with evidence. When the same behavior repeats, the pattern is the message. And ignoring that message doesn't make you loyal, it makes you vulnerable. Life teaches through repetition until the lesson is learned, and sometimes the lesson is not about them, it's about you. Understanding patterns also requires emotional strength. It means resisting the urge to be moved by words alone. It means pausing long enough to observe consistency. It means allowing time to reveal truth instead of rushing to believe promises. This kind of strength protects your peace, your time, and your future. Words can inspire, but only actions transform. Apologies can open the door, but only behavior walks through it. And when someone shows you repeatedly who they are through their actions, believe them, not because you are bitter, but because you are awake. At some point, growth requires a shift in standards. You stop asking, what did they say? And start asking, what have they shown? You stop measuring sincerity by emotion and start measuring it by effort. You stop negotiating with repeated behavior and start aligning with consistent action. Patterns are not accidents. They are the result of choices made again and again, and when those choices don't change, the outcome won't either. No matter how powerful the apology sounds, no matter how convincing the explanation feels, reality will always answer one question honestly. Did the behavior change? Because in the end, words may touch the ears, but patterns shape lives. Comfort without correction creates cycles. One of the most dangerous traps a person can fall into is confusing comfort with compassion. Comfort feels kind in the moment. It avoids conflict, softens consequences, and keeps peace on the surface. But when comfort is offered without correction, it doesn't heal. It repeats. It creates cycles. The same mistakes keep returning, dressed in new explanations but carrying the same damage. Growth never begins where accountability is absent.
I can't step
Human
away for
nature
nothing,
looks
can
for the
I?
path of least resistance.
He said some stuff.
Accidents. They are the result of choices made again and again. Behavior and start aligning with consistent action. Patterns are not accidents. They are the result of choices made again and again. And when those choices don't change, the outcome won't either. No matter how powerful the apology sounds, no matter how convincing the explanation feels, reality will always answer one question honestly. Did the behavior change? Because in the end, words may touch the ears, but patterns shape lives. Comfort without correction creates cycles. One of the most dangerous
Comfort without correction creates patterns. Is that what he said?
the apology sounds, no matter how convincing the explanation feels, he will always answer one question honestly. Did the behavior change? Because in the end, words may touch the ears, but patterns shape lives. Comfort without correction creates cycles. One of
Can y'all see this with your good eye? Can you see this with your good eye? Comfort without correction creates cycles. Comfort without correction creates a cycle. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I just done locked my keyboard. Oh, Lord. Hold on. I ain't never done this over here. See how the devil do? Lord. Comfort. Now, I hope. Oh, yeah. Let's go to dismiss. Lord, it's getting too good for you to start playing with me. Let's go. 20%.
Without correction creates cycles. One of the most dangerous traps a person can fall into is confusing comfort with compassion. Comfort feels kind in the moment. It avoids conflict, softens consequences, and keeps peace on the surface. But when comfort is offered without correction, it doesn't heal. It repeats. It creates cycles where the same mistakes keep returning, dressed in new explanations but carrying the same damage. Growth never begins where accountability is absent. Human nature looks for the path of least resistance. When people realize they can apologize, be forgiven, and return to the same behavior without real consequence, the mind quietly learns a lesson. Change is optional, not because they are incapable of growth, but because there is no demand for it. Comfort becomes permission, and permission becomes repetition. Correction is uncomfortable. It requires honesty, boundaries, and sometimes distance. It forces reflection instead of relief. That's why many people avoid it. They fear being seen as harsh, unloving, or impatient. But real care doesn't protect people from discomfort. It protects them from stagnation. Correction is not punishment, it is direction. Cycles form when apologies are accepted too quickly and accountability is delayed too long. The moment forgiveness removes pressure without requiring effort, behavior has no reason to evolve. Emotional release replaces discipline, and relief replaces responsibility. The cycle resets, not because the person intended harm, but because the system rewards familiarity over growth. Look closely at repeated patterns in relationships, leadership, or personal habits. The same arguments, the same mistakes, the same promises, the same outcomes. What's missing is not awareness, it's correction. Awareness without adjustment is useless. Insight without action is wasted potential. Correction doesn't mean control, it means clarity. It means naming what is no longer acceptable and standing by that standard consistently. When standards change depending on emotions, they lose their power. Consistency is what gives correction weight. Without it, boundaries become suggestions, and suggestions are easily ignored. People often say, I don't want to push them away. But the truth is, cycles push people away anyway, slowly, quietly, and painfully.
Amazon, Dyson,
Wow.
Ninja, Nike, Sephora, TripAdvisor, and
Y'all,
even
please
SeatGeek.
double
I
tap.
know how
I'm
you get money
almost
at all
out
of
of
these
juice.
places.
Come on.
What honest correction does in the open, repeated behavior does in the dark. One is immediate discomfort with long-term growth. The other is short-term peace with long-term damage. Comfort keeps people where they are. Correction challenges them to become more. Growth has always required friction. Muscles grow through resistance. Character grows through responsibility. Wisdom grows through consequence. Remove resistance, and nothing strengthens. Cycles also drain energy. They exhaust trust, patience, and hope. Each repetition makes the next apology feel lighter, weaker, less believable. Eventually, even sincere words lose meaning, not because forgiveness is gone, but because evidence is missing. Trust doesn't disappear suddenly, it erodes. Correction, when done with clarity, actually restores dignity. It tells a person, I believe you are capable of more. It raises the standard instead of lowering expectations. Comfort lowers the bar so behavior doesn't have to rise. Correction raises the bar so growth becomes necessary. In personal life, this principle shows up in habits. You tell yourself tomorrow will be different, but you never change the system that keeps pulling you back. You forgive yourself without adjusting your discipline. You excuse instead of examine. The result, the same cycle wearing a new date on the calendar. Correction requires structure. Structure creates accountability. Accountability creates change. Without structure, motivation fades. Without accountability, discipline weakens. And without discipline, cycles continue uninterrupted. Some people confuse patience with tolerance. Patience allows time for growth. Tolerance allows repeated.
Y'all get the likes up. Double tap the face of your screen. Tap twice. Say thank you. Thank you. Double tap the face of your screen or hit the 3 dots at the top right. Can y'all hear me? Okay, y'all must not be able to hear me. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Yes, okay. Get the likes up.
Harm. Knowing the difference is wisdom. Correction draws that line. It says, I can be patient with progress, but not with repetition. Cycles only break when consequences become clearer than comfort, when growth becomes more rewarding than familiarity, when the cost of staying the same outweighs the fear of changing. That shift doesn't happen accidentally. It happens through intentional correction. Correction also protects the future. It stops the same mistake from appearing in new forms. It interrupts patterns before they harden into identity. Without correction, people don't just repeat behavior, they normalize it. If you want different results, you must disrupt familiar systems. You cannot forgive your way into transformation. Forgiveness opens the door, discipline walks through it. Correction is the bridge between regret and reform. This is not about being harsh, it's about being honest. Honest enough to say, this cannot continue. Honest enough to enforce boundaries even when it's uncomfortable. Honest enough to accept that growth often begins where comfort ends. Cycles survive on avoidance. Correction confronts them, and once confronted, cycles lose their power, because repetition only exists where accountability is absent. In the end, comfort without correction is not kindness, it is delay. Delay of growth, delay of healing, delay of truth. And the longer a cycle continues, the harder it becomes to break. But the moment correction enters the picture, the cycle cracks. And through that crack, change finally has room to begin. Respect is proven through consistency. Respect is not something people declare, it is something they demonstrate over time. It does not live in dramatic moments, emotional conversations, or well-spoken apologies. Respect lives in repetition. It shows up in how someone behaves when emotions settle, when attention fades, and when there is nothing immediate to gain. Anyone can sound respectful in a moment of pressure. Consistency is what reveals whether that respect is real. Many people confuse politeness with respect. Politeness is surface-level behavior. Respect is rooted in values. A person can speak kindly, yet continue to disregard boundaries. They can apologize sincerely and still repeat the same actions. When this happens, the issue is not awareness, it is priority. What someone consistently does tells you what they truly value. Consistency requires discipline. It means choosing the same standard even when it's inconvenient. It means honoring boundaries not just once, but always. That's why consistency is rare and why it is so powerful. Respect that comes and goes depending on mood, circumstance, or benefit is not respect at all. It's performance. True respect does not need reminders. When someone genuinely respects you, they don't need repeated warnings to adjust their behavior. They observe, learn, and correct themselves. They don't wait to be confronted. They take initiative. And when they fail, as all humans do, they make visible efforts to do better, not just verbal promises. Inconsistency creates confusion. One day there is care, the next day there is disregard. One moment there is understanding, the next moment the same boundary is crossed. Over time, this inconsistency weakens trust, not because mistakes happen, but because nothing changes after them. Respect cannot grow where reliability is missing. Consistency also reveals self-respect. People who respect themselves understand standards. They don't need chaos to feel alive or shortcuts to feel powerful. They are willing to do the right thing repeatedly, even when no one is applauding. That inner discipline becomes outward respect toward others. A lack of consistency often hides behind good intentions. I didn't mean to. I was stressed. That's not who I am. But consistency answers a harder question. What do you do when excuses are available? Because that is where respect either stands or collapses. Respect does not demand perfection. It demands effort that can be observed over time. Progress, not promises. Adjustment, not justification. When someone truly cares, their behavior slowly aligns with their words. When they don't, the gap between what they say and what they do grows wider. Repeated inconsistency sends a message, even if it's unintentional. It says, this matters to me sometimes, but not always. And for the person on the receiving end, that message eventually becomes clarity, because respect that depends on conditions is not something you can build a future on. Consistency also creates safety, emotional safety, mental safety, relational safety. When behavior is predictable and aligned with stated values, people can relax. They don't have to brace for the next mistake or explanation. Consistent respect removes anxiety because it removes uncertainty. Many relationships fail not because of one major mistake, but because of repeated small violations. Disrespect in pieces still equals disrespect in total. Over time, those pieces accumulate and shape perception. Consistency would have prevented that damage, but once trust erodes, even sincere apologies struggle to repair it. Respect shows in preparation, in listening, in follow-through, in remembering what matters to someone and acting accordingly. These are not grand gestures, they are quiet habits, and habits reveal respect more clearly than speeches ever will. When someone says they respect you but their actions contradict them, believe the actions. Not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. Respect that is real doesn't need defending. It stands on its own through consistency. Consistency also requires boundaries from the one receiving respect. If inconsistency is continually accepted, it becomes normalized. Standards teach people how to treat you. Enforcing them is not selfish, it is necessary. Respect grows where boundaries are clear and upheld. Some people only become consistent when consequences become real. This is not cruelty, it is clarity. When comfort ends, focus begins. When inconsistency is no longer tolerated, behavior must adjust or distance will grow. Respect at its core is alignment. Alignment between values and actions, between words and behavior, between intention and impact. And alignment can only be measured over time. Consistency is not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It shows up quietly, day after day, choice after choice. That quiet presence is what builds trust, stability, and respect that lasts. If you want to know how much respect exists in any situation, stop listening for promises and start observing patterns. Consistency will always tell you the truth, because in the end,
Patterns
respect
matter.
is not proven by what someone says when they're sorry. It's proven by what they refuse to repeat. Accountability is the price of maturity. Maturity is not measured by age, experience, or how well someone speaks about their mistakes. Maturity is measured by accountability, by the willingness to own actions fully, without excuses, without blame, and without needing sympathy as a substitute for growth. Anyone can admit fault when consequences are loud. A mature person takes responsibility even when they could easily avoid it. Accountability is uncomfortable because it removes hiding places. It strips away justifications like stress, upbringing, intentions, or circumstances. While those factors may explain behavior, they do not excuse repetition. Maturity begins the moment someone stops asking, why did this happen? And starts asking, what am I going to do differently? Many people apologize, but few truly take accountability. An apology says, I regret what happened. Accountability says, I accept the responsibility to change. That difference is everything. Regret looks backward. Accountability looks forward. Regret feels emotional. Accountability becomes practical. Immaturity avoids ownership. It shifts blame,
Woo.
minimizes impact, or reframes harm as misunderstanding. It
Hold
focuses on being
on.
forgiven rather than being better. Maturity does the opposite. It listens without defending. It accepts consequences without resentment. It understands.
Hold on. Hold on. It said a mouthful. Got to be more careful.
Consequences are loud. A mature person takes responsibility even when they could easily avoid it. Accountability is uncomfortable because it removes hiding places. It strips away justifications like stress, upbringing, intentions, or circumstances. While those factors may explain behavior, they do not excuse repetition. Maturity begins the moment someone stops asking, "Why did this happen?" and starts asking, "What am I going to do differently?" Many people apologize, but few truly take accountability. An apology says, "I regret what happened." Accountability says, "I accept the responsibility to change." That difference is everything. Regret looks backward. Accountability looks forward. Regret feels emotional. Accountability becomes practical. Immaturity avoids ownership. It shifts blame, minimizes impact, or reframes harm as misunderstanding. It focuses on being forgiven rather than being better. Maturity does the opposite. It listens without defending. It accepts consequences without resentment. It understands that growth often costs comfort, pride, and ego. Accountability requires self-discipline. It means setting standards and holding yourself to them even when no one else is enforcing them. That is the highest form of integrity. When a person only behaves well under supervision, they are not accountable. They are compliant. True accountability exists even in isolation. One of the clearest signs of immaturity is repetition paired with explanation. The same mistake followed by a new reason every time. Over time, explanations become patterns themselves. Maturity breaks that cycle by changing behavior instead of perfecting excuses. Accountability also means accepting that forgiveness does not erase consequences. Just because someone forgives you does not mean trust instantly returns. Just because the conversation is over does not mean the work is done. Maturity understands that rebuilding takes time, consistency, and patience. There is a difference between guilt and responsibility. Guilt focuses on feeling bad. Responsibility focuses on doing better. Guilt can paralyze. Responsibility mobilizes. Mature individuals don't sit in shame. They stand in commitment. They channel regret into reform. Accountability is not self-punishment. It is self-respect. It is the decision to hold yourself to a higher standard because you know your actions matter. It is understanding that who you become is shaped by what you repeatedly choose to correct. In leadership, accountability builds trust. In relationships, it builds safety. In personal growth, it builds character. Without accountability, everything weakens. Promises, commitments, and credibility. With accountability, even past mistakes can become foundations for strength. Many people fear accountability because they associate it with loss of image, comfort, or control. But the truth is, accountability gives power back. It puts the future in your hands. It says, "I am not defined by what I did. I am defined by what I choose to do next." Maturity also understands timing. It doesn't wait to be confronted. It self-corrects. It notices patterns early and addresses them before damage multiplies. Waiting for someone else to call you out is not accountability. It's reaction. Accountability requires humility. The humility to admit you were wrong without adding
to see
but.
yourself.
The humility to listen without interrupting. The humility to accept that impact matters more than intent. This humility is not weakness. It is strength under control. People often say they want growth, but resist accountability. That contradiction keeps them stuck. Growth and accountability are inseparable. You cannot evolve without examining your behavior honestly. You cannot mature without confronting what needs to change. Accountability also means understanding that repeated apologies lose value without repeated improvement. Words depreciate when behavior does not appreciate. Over time, people stop listening, not because they are unforgiving, but because they are tired of investing in empty change. Mature people don't demand trust. They earn it. They don't rush healing. They respect the process. They don't argue with consequences. They learn from them. That mindset separates
the process. They respect the process. Because see, when you're trying to rush me, I'm going to say me. That means you don't respect me. Yeah, don't do that. Don't rush the process. You know, don't try to make something wrong with me. Don't try to make it seem like I'm gonna miss out on something. No. So you paint the picture. Yeah, you trying to sell me. That's that car salesman mentality. You want me to buy into what you selling. How about I'm not interested. Yeah. How about I'll pass. Yeah, no. Don't try to rush me. Yeah. I need for you to show me instead of telling me. Yeah. I need to see it. I need for your actions and your words to line up. And you rushing me because you know that you can't make your words and your actions line up. So you want to paint a pretty ass picture to entice me. No. 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 Until your words and actions merge, it's a no for me. And the more you try to rush me, manipulate me, the more I see you for who you really are, a wolf in sheep clothing, it's a no for me.
From stagnation. Accountability shapes identity. When someone consistently takes responsibility, they become reliable. When they avoid it, they become unpredictable. And unpredictability erodes every meaningful connection. There is freedom in accountability. Freedom from excuses, freedom from cycles, freedom from repeating the same mistakes in different forms. When you own your behavior, you own your future. In the end, maturity...
Yeah, that's what I was going to say earlier. I can't stand it, when if you give a person the answers to a test and they still fail the test, that means they're not true to who and what they say they are. So that means everything that they have promised or everything that they say that they are about and what it's a lie. You can't even, so you don't respect me, you don't like me, whatever you've been saying, it's a lie. And you dang sure don't love. If you can't even pass a test and somebody gave you the answers, they told you everything that you need to know, and they still fail. What that mean? What that mean to you? Thank you for the floating heart. If you have told a person sincerely everything they need to know to pass a test and they still fail it, what that mean to you? Okay. Let that marinate.
Is not about never failing. It's about failing honestly, learning completely, and adjusting permanently. Accountability is the price and the reward of that maturity. Because those who refuse accountability stay trapped in apology. Those who embrace it step into transformation. Move forward based on evidence, not hope. Hope is powerful, but hope without evidence can quietly become a trap. It can keep people standing still while life keeps moving. It can convince you to wait longer, tolerate more, and explain away patterns that have already spoken clearly. Hope, when it is not grounded in action, turns into denial. And denial is expensive. It costs time, peace, confidence, and sometimes your future. There is a moment in maturity when you realize that believing in people is not the same as ignoring reality. Belief should inspire growth, not excuse stagnation. Too many people mistake loyalty for endurance, faith for patience, and love for self-sacrifice without limits. But wisdom is not found in endless waiting. It is found in discernment. Evidence tells the truth that hope tries to soften. Evidence is not emotional. It doesn't argue. It doesn't beg. It simply shows you what is happening again and again. Patterns are evidence. Consistency is evidence. Repetition is evidence. When someone shows you who they are through repeated behavior, that information is not cruel. It is clarifying. Hope focuses on potential. Evidence focuses on results.
No excuses.
Stay trapped in apology. Someone
No
consistently
excuses.
takes responsibility,
Always
they
an
become
excuse.
reliable. When they avoid it, they become unpredictable. And unpredictability erodes every meaningful connection. There is freedom in accountability, freedom from excuses, freedom from cycles, freedom from repeating the same mistakes in different forms. When you own your behavior, you own your future. In the end, maturity is not about never failing. It's about failing honestly, learning completely, and adjusting permanently. Accountability is the price and the reward of that maturity. Because those who refuse accountability stay trapped in apology. Those who embrace it step into transformation. Move forward based on evidence, not hope. Hope is powerful, but hope without evidence can quietly become a trap. It can keep people standing still while life keeps moving. It can convince you to wait longer.
Hope without evidence. That's like hope without evidence.
When you own your behavior, you own your future. In the end, maturity is not about never failing. It's about failing honestly, learning completely, and adjusting permanently. Accountability is the price and the reward of that maturity. Because those who refuse accountability stay trapped in apology. Those who embrace it step into transformation. Move forward based on evidence, not hope. Hope is powerful, but hope without evidence can quietly become a trap.
Hope without evidence can quietly become a trap. Hope without evidence can quietly become a trap. Y'all let that marinate. Please let that marinate. Hope without evidence can quietly become a trap. You know, this right here kind of reminds me of that faith without the evidence thereof is not faith. If you don't go through nothing, there's no measure of faith. But this is saying hope without evidence can quietly become a trap.
Hope without evidence can quietly become a trap. It can keep people standing still while life keeps moving. It can convince you to wait longer, tolerate more, and explain away patterns that have already spoken clearly. Hope, when it is not grounded in action, turns into denial. And denial is expensive. It costs time, peace, confidence, and sometimes your future. There is a moment in maturity when you realize that believing in people is not the same as ignoring reality. Belief should inspire growth, not excuse stagnation. Too many people mistake loyalty for endurance, faith for patience, and love for self-sacrifice without limits. But wisdom is not found in endless waiting. It is found in discernment. Evidence tells the truth that hope tries to soften. Evidence is not emotional. It doesn't argue. It doesn't beg. It simply shows you what is happening again and again. Patterns are evidence. Consistency is evidence. Repetition is evidence. When someone shows you who they are through hope, when it is not grounded in action, turns into denial. And denial is expensive. It costs time, peace, confidence, and sometimes your future. There is a moment in maturity when you realize that believing in people is not the same as ignoring reality. Belief should inspire growth, not excuse stagnation. Too many people mistake loyalty for endurance, faith for patience, and love for self-sacrifice without limits. But wisdom is not found in endless waiting. It is found in discernment. Evidence tells the truth that hope tries to soften. Evidence is not emotional. It doesn't argue. It doesn't beg. It simply shows you what is happening again and again. Patterns are evidence. Consistency is evidence. Repetition is evidence. When someone shows you who they are through repeated behavior, that information is not cruel. It is clarifying. Hope focuses on potential. Evidence focuses on results. Potential is inspiring, but results are reliable. You cannot build a future on what might happen if someone changes. You can only build on what is happening now. And if what is happening now is repetition without improvement, then hope becomes a delay tactic, not a virtue. Many people stay stuck because they are emotionally invested in who someone could become, not who they are choosing to be. But growth is not accidental. Change is not automatic. People do not evolve simply because you want them to. They change when they decide to, and decision always shows up in behavior. Moving forward based on evidence does not mean becoming cold or bitter. It means becoming honest. It means accepting that clarity is kinder than confusion, that boundaries are healthier than resentment, that progress requires alignment, not endless forgiveness without reform. Hope says maybe this time will be different. Evidence asks, what was different last time? And if the answer is nothing, then wisdom demands adjustment, not anger, not revenge, adjustment. There is a reason repeated disappointment hurts more than the first one. The first time you didn't know. The second time you doubted. The third time the pattern revealed itself. Pain increases when truth is ignored. Not because you're weak, but because your intuition has been warning you. Moving forward is not about punishment. It is about self-respect. It is the decision to stop negotiating with behavior that refuses to grow. It is understanding that your time is valuable, your energy is limited, and your future deserves protection. Evidence also shows effort. When someone is truly trying, you can see it. There is struggle, adjustment, accountability, and improvement, even if it's slow. Evidence of effort builds trust. Evidence of stagnation breaks it. The difference is visible to anyone willing to look honestly. Some people accuse others of giving up too soon, but the truth is, most people give too many chances, not too few. They wait past clarity, they stay past patterns, they hope past evidence, and by the time they leave, they are exhausted, not impulsive. Moving forward based on evidence means releasing the need for closure through words. Closure comes from understanding, not conversation. When behavior has already answered your questions, another explanation will not bring peace. Acceptance will. Hope often asks for more time. Evidence asks for better action. If time passes and nothing changes, time has done all it can. Waiting longer will not create a different outcome. It will only deepen the same one. This principle applies everywhere, in relationships, leadership, habits, and self-growth. If you keep promising yourself change, but your actions stay the same, evidence is speaking. If you keep tolerating, breaks it. The difference is visible to anyone willing to look honestly.
One more time for the ones in the back.
Giving up too soon, but the truth is, most people give too many chances, not too few. They wait past clarity, they stay past patterns, they hope past evidence, and by the time they leave, they are exhausted, not impulsive. Moving forward based on evidence means releasing the need for closure through words. Closure comes from understanding, not conversation. When behavior has already answered your questions, another explanation will not bring peace. Acceptance will. Hope often asks for more time. Evidence asks for better action. If time passes and nothing changes, time has done all it can. Waiting longer will not create a different outcome. It will only deepen the same one. This principle applies everywhere, in relationships, leadership, habits, and self-growth. If you keep promising yourself change, but your actions stay the same, evidence is speaking. If you keep tolerating behavior that drains you, evidence is warning you. Progress begins when you listen. Moving forward sometimes means letting go of expectations you worked hard to maintain. That can hurt, but clinging to false hope hurts more. One is a clean wound, the other is a slow infection. Hope should be partnered with standards. Faith should be partnered with action. Belief should be partnered with boundaries. Without these, hope becomes permission for repetition. Moving forward does not always mean walking away. Sometimes it means changing rules, enforcing boundaries, or shifting access.
Okay, I know y'all see Mrs. Tom and Janet down there asking for y'all to get the thumbs up. Please, a double tap. It's just a easy tap, 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 tap. It's saying, that's not me, y'all. That's there. It's saying thank you. Can you double tap for me? If you're on the face of your phone, if you're listening in to this wisdom, knowledge, double tap the face of your phone. If you're using your computer or tablet, there are 3 dots at the very top, stacked on top of each other. Tap that, it'll take you to where you can hit the like button. Say thank you. And if you just say you don't want to, I don't like that lady, then leave, get out. If you want to take your like back, walk on out. Yeah, I'm finna go.
But it always means doing something different, because if nothing changes, nothing changes. Evidence-based decisions protect
And my
peace.
lights didn't
They
change.
remove confusion. They
So
you worked hard to maintain. That can hurt, but clinging to false hope hurts more. One is a clean wound, the other is a slow infection. Hope should be partnered with standards. Faith should be partnered with action. Belief should be partnered. speaking. If you keep tolerating behavior that drains you, evidence is warning you. Progress begins when you listen. Moving forward sometimes means letting go of expectations you worked hard to maintain. That can hurt, but clinging to false hope hurts more. One is a clean wound, the other is a slow infection. Hope should be partnered with standards. Faith should be partnered with action. Belief should be partnered with boundaries. Without these, hope becomes permission for repetition. Moving forward does not always mean walking away. Sometimes it means changing rules, enforcing boundaries, or shifting access. But it always means doing something different.
Thank
Because
you,
if
Max to
nothing
the
changes,
boogie.
nothing changes.
Max
Evidence-based
to the
decisions
boogie.
protect peace. They remove confusion. They replace emotional chaos with clarity. You stop asking, why is this happening? And start saying, I see what this is. You worked hard to maintain. That can hurt, but clinging to false hope hurts more. One is a clean wound, the other is a slow infection. Hope should be partnered
Afternoon,
with standards.
ladies.
Faith should be partnered with action. Belief should be partnered with boundaries. Without these, hope becomes permission for repetition. Moving forward does not always mean walking away. Sometimes it means changing rules, enforcing boundaries, or shifting access. But it always means doing something different, because if nothing changes, nothing changes. Evidence-based decisions protect peace. They remove confusion. They replace emotional chaos with clarity. You stop asking, why is this happening? And start saying, I see what this is. That shift is powerful. Some people fear moving forward because they don't want to look like the bad person. But choosing growth does not make you cruel. It makes you responsible. You are not obligated to stay where there is no progress. Hope can inspire beginnings. Evidence determines direction. You can appreciate what was while still choosing what's next. Letting go does not erase love. It honors truth. Moving forward based on evidence also teaches others how to treat you. When you stop accepting words without action, you raise the standard. Some will rise to meet it, others will fall away. Both outcomes are necessary. In the end, life rewards alignment. When your expectations match reality, peace follows. When your decisions are grounded in evidence, regret fades. And when you stop hoping for change and start responding to truth, growth finally accelerates. Because hope may sound beautiful, but evidence builds futures. And the strongest step you can take is not waiting for behavior to change, but choosing to move when it doesn't.
What's that? In about build your. Oh, let me.
That's why we're committed to fighting hunger in our communities until everyone has a
Build your hope on things.
INDICTED.
Oh, that's it. Oh, okay. Build your hope on things eternal, not worldly. Okay, good people. I'm finna leave on up out of here. The lights never got where they should have been with all of this knowledge and all my little personal stories. Oh, boom, shaka laka boom. Oh, Candace, you rule the transatlantic slave trade reaction. Okay, y'all, I'll be back later. Build your hope on things eternal. Huh? Stop falling for the banana in the tailpipe. Stop believing the hype. Stop expecting for these people over here to be honest and truthful. That ain't gonna happen. Yeah, you're gonna have to put their asses out. You understand? What is it? Oh, I got a package. Okay, I gotta go, y'all. I'll be back later. Thank y'all. Y'all need to come in, hit the like button. If you don't want to like, please leave. Right, Janet. Get your ass up out of here. The rats. What is the rat? I understand. Okay, I'll be back, y'all. I stayed to the end of it, but I can't go further. It's 2 hours in. I gotta go. I'll be back. Peace. Mwah.